keep your picture beside my bed. I still remember everything you said. Always thought our love was so right. I guess I was wrong. Always thought you'd be by my side, mama, and you're gone. Well, I know, baby, what we had was good. How come you don't call me anymore? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Still like a fire on a rainy night. Still like it better when you hold me tight. Oh, and everybody said that we should never part. Tell me, baby, 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 why you wanna go and break my heart? Well, I know, baby, if what we had was good, how come you don't call me anymore? So why don't you pick up the phone, mama? Sometimes it feels like I'm gonna die. You don't come, mama. Girl, you better try. Down on my knees, begging you, please, please. Come on, just pick up the phone. Well, I know, baby, what we had was good. How come you don't call me anymore? Hello everybody, welcome to part 3 of the making of my interlude album. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Thank you for being so patient with me for part 3. I had my first vaccine last week and I just kind of took the next couple days that I usually do shooting just to, rest because I didn't know what my side effects were going to be. So I'm doing cool. Highly recommend getting it. Second shot, couple weeks. I'll let you know how that one goes. I hear a lot of things that aren't too good about it, but happy to be halfway there. Okay, so part 3, where are my funds? So as you can tell, a lot of this has to do with pledge music, but I am gonna also go into a little bit of the recording and the making of the album itself. So part fun, part not so fun. Okay, so as I mentioned, I kind of made it work for a while where I started paying people out of pocket because pledge music wasn't paying up the funds. So I just remember, like I had left off with going to NAMM and like still it all being up in the air, and then a couple days out right before E-Man was booked in the studio, we still didn't know when the funds were going to arrive. Me and production team. The players didn't know anything about this. I didn't want to put any of this on them. I wanted them to feel comfortable so they could do their thing. So luckily I had a very small but just enough amount to pay the first couple players. And yeah, I tried so many things just to like kind of keep it going. E-Man is a really funny guy, super easy, super laid back, very professional. He's definitely a team player, so I can see why he's in very high demand by Andy Grammer. It was a great learning experience just to work with him, and it was honestly an honor. Like, I had a really great time. Very efficient, only a couple takes, and it was mostly just because we wanted to experiment and just have fun. So he was in and out within, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours max, and he played about 4 or 5 songs. So yeah, he did a really stellar job. Really sweet guy. Would love to have him back on another project maybe in the future. So that happened, and then I just remember Mark Pelly coming in to do some production on a track. Originally, like, he was just gonna maybe feature and on Until I See You Again, but he just like had this idea. I just remember coming to the studio, and he had this idea, and he said, oh, hey, Pepper, you wanna come up? Say hi. Hello. Welcome. We're hanging out with our vlog fans. This is Pepper the cat. For anybody new, I rescued her when she was 3 months old. Almost 5 years ago, actually, next month. So, actually, sorry, not next month. She was born next month, 5 years ago, so she'll be 5. But in July, I rescued her from the Burbank shelter. Yes. Anyways, so you were very distracting as usual, but that's fine. Could be worse, right? After him, Mark Pelly, a couple nights later, came by and we were just talking over the song and how we want to do it, and that's when we decided we were going to make it into a duet. It was originally just the solo, and he was just going to maybe like feature play on it or feature produce on it. So then we turned it into a duet, and at one point, when I was doing the lyrics, I was just like, I need to write a male part, but I don't know how to do that because my voice of where it is, and from my perspective as someone who identifies as a female woman gender, female sex, and my life experience, I didn't know how to quite get into those shoes. So I had my friend Jimmy Pearson come by one session, and he helped me rewrite it and stuff, and it was really great. I didn't have a lot of, if you're a musician, you're gonna understand this, songwriter. I didn't allow myself to have enough space in the phrases and everything. So I wanted to create more of that to have a better performance. Sometimes I am, if you get to know me as a songwriter at one point, or just in general as a fan, you will get to know that I often will write a song that's a little too hard for me. I'll hear it and it'll be great, and then it'll come out and it'll be fine, but I'll just make it a little harder than myself than it needs to be, or it'll just be harder and it's like it's a new level to level up to perform at, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like if you're playing a video game and you decide that you want to skip to a different level or a different difficulty, but you're not quite there yet. Almost irrelevant. Like, it's just unnecessary difficulty. So yeah, so I'll do that. Sometimes I'll do that in my writing. And so that's why I have like friends and co-writers come in sometimes to help me refresh and regroup and clean it up a little bit. So that's what my friend Jimmy did, and we turned into a really awesome badass duet. You can hear that on Spotify and Apple, and all those places where you get music, including my website and Bandcamp. But yeah, so we put it together, and then but going back to Mark Pelly, yeah, he just like spent like, I remember almost like falling asleep in the studio, because he once he got to that computer to do some production, he like did not leave. I remember I left to do something and I came back and he was still just at it. And then we had a day where Keenan and Mike came in, the drummer and bassist that I like to play with often, and I call them family members, where they're basically my band to me. And Keenan and Mike, they've been playing with each other from gigs in Disneyland to backing up bands to all kinds of projects for like 4 or 5 years. So they just know how to perfectly bounce off each other. Yeah, so as you can imagine, they're really fun. They're really fun, really great players. And then we had a little bit of Jack Severino, who's also another amazing bass player. He'd totally be my second choice. If I couldn't have Mike, I'd choose Jack for sure. So he studies at USC's, their music department, which is a really great place from what I've heard for music. But yeah, Ty the Sound Guy, found him when he was working some gigs with the Misfits and Willow, Will Smith, Misfits, that whole family group of musicians, Jaden Smith, all those people. So we found Jack through them, and like he's an incredible, super young bass player, wise beyond his years. He did that crazy bass on Graduating. So good. So yeah, he did a couple songs. From what I know, he's still in music school right now, and I hope he's doing all right with the pandemic and everything. So we had Levance Coley. I found him seeing a gig when Ty was doing sound for Sarah Rach, also known as Sour Taps. She's a super famous tap dancer. Like, I've never seen anybody's feet move like that. Incredible. I don't know how she does it. She must work so hard. But I actually know a friend who I think they went to like performing arts school together, and he said that she just like worked like nobody. Like, she was just incredible. The amount of work ethic and passion she had, even back then. So yeah, she was incredible. And then Levance Coley was singing jazz that night with her, and he was doing runs like they were just like water coming out of a waterfall. And I said to Ty, the song guy, I said, oh man, we need to get him on the album. I don't know what it is, but he's something special for sure. So on Shell, we decided to put him on there, and he originally was just gonna do a feature vocal and maybe some background vocals, but he calls up Ty and he says, hey, okay, I have it. I have the idea. Like, I know what I'm gonna do for the song. So he goes into the studio, and that night, I remember I was working my old cafe gig at the time, and because I had to do everything possible to make money, and it was during, I think it was like right around fire season when it came up again in San Andreas wind, so I needed that side money to like get the album happening and pay my bills and survive. So that's what I did. So I remember like coming in with my apron on a break. I like it because it wasn't too far from the studio. I like took a break, walked a couple blocks, said I'll be right back. She's like, my boss is like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. It was slow. And I go inside, I sit down, and Levance and Ty are like, okay, so like we recorded this, we'd love for you to hear it to know if it needs anything else. So I listened to it, and it's just a cappella at this point, and it's like all of his background vocals, and I barely gave any notes. I was like, it just needs this, this, and this. Ty didn't even do anything. He just pressed record and reset on the programmer. He's on Logic. Logic is software for recording, so he just like reset it to the beginning, and he pressed like 2 buttons the whole time, didn't do anything other than that. And Levance had this giant idea that was just like this whole nother baby of amazingness, and it was just, I think he recorded like 150 tracks of just all his vocals. And so after he left, I remember that by that point, it was like, I forget how many players in I had paid out, and like, so I pay him out, and then after he had left, I'm just like weeping, because I'm just like so freaked out, not knowing what to do, not knowing what the heck is going on with Pledge Music, when I'm getting paid, if I'm getting paid, anything like that. Listening to this beautiful, wonderful music and being terrified, not knowing if I'm going to survive through this, and like not knowing how I'm gonna put this all together. And all of it was just coming together so quickly in the studio, but also slow in other ways, and in funding and in other things. So yeah, so I just remember that moment, and it was so scary, because it wasn't what was planned at all. And it wasn't about not plans going bad. It was about the fact that I was like literally scammed by a company that is not known for doing it. And so yeah, he did an incredible job. We tried to put like, I remember Keenan came in one other day to do something before Mike got there. And he listened to Shell, and Ty says, hey, so like, what do you think? Should we add anything to it? And it's just a cappella. And he said, that's the best thing I've heard in 20 years. I don't want to mess it up, so let's just leave it a cappella. So we just collectively as a group decided to leave it a cappella, because of what Levance did was just so cool and so special and unique. It was just amazing. And then we had Trevin come in. Trevin is who I wrote All Right with, and I Can't Be, and So Good, and we had a lot of fun with him. I missed a lot of that session time, unfortunately, because I was out gigging trying to provide for everybody. But yeah, Trevin did an amazing job with some backup guitar and some backup vocals on a couple of tracks. And then Pepper, thank you for putting your butt in my face, butt in your tail. And then yeah, so we had that, and that was fun. But I want to say, like, the song that just was the most stressful was definitely Until I See You Again, because Mark got sick, and then it's like a couple weeks before, I'm literally getting all the album artwork together and everything, and like, we had listened to the album so many times, mix mastering, all that stuff, other than this track. And so Mark gets better, and then he actually sings the track for the first time, and he says, I'm so sorry. I don't think my range is gonna be right for this track. Do you think you can get somebody else to do it? I just want it to be the best it can be. And I was like, okay. So on top of the funding, on top of this, on top of that, there were a lot of things that happened that I can't even mention here until the next episode, because it's just so much that happened simultaneously as this was happening. It was crazy. We were getting everything, just the last finishing touches, and then so I go and I think of all my artist friends that I think would fit for the role. And so I didn't want to just like do auditions or something like that. I did not have time to do auditions, and I had so many amazing, talented friends that I wanted to bring one of them on the project. So the first one that I thought of, which would have been perfect, was my friend Nico Frank. Go check him out, by the way. He's so good. He would have been so good, but unfortunately he was not available. He was so busy with NACA gigs, which are traveling with colleges and playing music for students and stuff. You went to college and there was music, and there was just like one small band on a stage and no one was listening in the cafeteria, or there was a stage and it was like a spring thing. Yep, that's NACA. That's what NACA is. So he was so busy doing that and traveling and going in and out of town. He's like, I'm so sorry, I just don't think I'm gonna have time. So I was like, no problem. Like, so then I'm just like, to try the song, I was like, I don't know what to do. And then he said, well, I have some good news. And I said, okay, what is it? And then he said, well, we had Sean and Mark from Wolves in the studio getting some stuff together, and they were saying how they want to do collabs with like as many artist friends as they can right now. Why don't we try them? And I was like, I don't know how that's gonna work, but okay, I'll do it. And so at that point I was just like, I don't know, I just wanted to be good, and like, you know. So they came in, and Mark hears it, and he's just like, wow, I love this. And so he learns his part, and then he jumps on and records. And then Sean did mostly a lot of backups and like under harmonies, because he's really good at that. He's actually going to be singing on a future track as well that will be coming out somewhat soon. So I'll let you guys know the song when we get there. They come on and like they do their thing, and it's just like way more amazing and fantastic and all the good positive things. I was just grateful that they, you know, that it worked out really well. So I like couldn't have imagined pretty much anybody better after hearing their version. After what they added to the track, I was like, nope, this is it. This is what it's meant to be. So that was crazy. It was literally, and then we had to rush so then we mix mastered that song, tucked that into all the other songs, and then finally sent it out to get all the CDs made while planning like the pre-release party. It was crazy. I will get more into detail with all of that stuff when we get there. I know people are wondering, like, did I get my funds? Did I get my funds? And I will reveal more about that later. But during this time, like, there were more statements put out about Pledge Music. I was in touch with the co-founder, former like CEO, maker of Pledge Music, and who was a musician. And I had a connection that put me in touch with him to like find out what the heck was going on. And yeah, he jumped back in trying to save it, just like I mentioned in the other one. And he, you know, let me know of like meetings he was having and like everything. And it was hard because it's just like part of me felt for the guy, but then part of me was just like, what? How could you, like, what the heck? Like, I get that you left, you weren't managing the company, but like, why would you just like give over control like that? So yeah, it was really hard. But yeah, so that concludes the episode for this week. I know this sounds like a lot at once of just so many things happening, which is what it was for me. And I will say, you know, other odd jobs I did while trying to do this album was like, I even entered myself in this music contest called like Music Cash, and like I had a friend that was producing it and stuff, and he encouraged me to do it. And I just remember you had to like sell votes, so people got one free vote and then people had to like buy them, and I didn't like that. I thought that was really sketchy. So but I was like, well, my friend's involved, so I trust my friend. And the poor guy, of course, like, my poor friend who also was involved in it also, you know, had to deal with some stuff too, unfortunately. But I just remember there's like a part of my body just not wanting to do it. And I did like 2 rounds of the show. I will definitely discuss a little bit more about that. But so I got a little bit of my funding from that, but it was like enough to pay, I think, like 2 players. I was like, oh good, we can pay 2 players. So yeah, but I'll go into that a little bit more. Part 4 next week, we'll be talking about the fact that I try to pull off a tri-state New York tour while I was trying to do all this, because that's what I told fans I would do, and I try to be a woman of my word as much as I can. So thank you guys so much for joining me this week. I will talk more about all of that, my tour, plus the funds, if they ever even showed up. All of that I will discuss with you next week, part 4. So please stick around. Thank you so much. Please stick around to next week. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you enjoyed this, do not forget to like and subscribe. And have a wonderful day, and I will see you next episode. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching. Please consider supporting Sarah Lightman on Patreon.